Hi guys. Today I've been struggling to get the right words out for the thoughts that I'm having and the video that I desire to make for you. But something pretty incredible and extraordinary happened as I was filming my 20th take of this, where I saw a falcon fly right in front of me onto the tree that's right outside of the window that I'm filming in front of. And I looked up what the meaning of a falcon could be spiritually, like what its significance could be. And when I looked it up, it was about clarity. And a lot of the time, these animals will carry messages that align with the kind of skills and symbolism that those animals represent, right? So for the falcon, the first thing that came up was vision and clarity. Falcons have extraordinary eyesight, symbolizing the ability to see the bigger picture or gain clarity on a situation. So I felt as though it was a message kind of obviously echoing that lack of clarity that I was having while making this video. It does say that it could be a sign to step back, observe, and plan before taking action. And another thing that falcons can represent are spiritual message or protection, or a sign to trust your higher vision and instincts. So that falcon served as a message in itself, right? If you're struggling with clarity or vision, perhaps you should take a step back, plan a bit more, and trust your higher vision, and trust that the right message will come at the right time, that you'll strike when the timing feels right. So it allowed me to take a moment to step back, and directly after, there was a snail that started crawling on the window right in front of me as well. And so I decided to look up what a snail could potentially mean, and that's patience and slow growth. Snails remind you that slow progress is still progress. Trust the journey. Protect your energy, retreat, rest if needed. So after I saw both of those things, I decided it was time for me to go have some lunch, slow down, ground a little bit, and then come back to my video. Now, the coolest part about this is my video was specifically about how to be psychic and what it means to be psychic and the tools or signs that I use or look out for in order to enhance my intuitive and psychic abilities. And one of the things that I was actually going to discuss is seeing different signs and symbols in nature that remind you of your alignment, as well as kind of like the fact that when you do see these things, there is no coincidence to them, and that they bring divine messages to you. And that really being psychic, there's a lot of pieces to it that I'll discuss, but something that's very pertinent, or one of the most primary aspects of being psychic, is really more about being observational and remembering that there is no such thing as coincidence, and that everything you see can be treated as a message, especially things like animals, because animals come and go so randomly, and I feel like they really follow that inner compass or that magnetism. So when they are magnetized to you to happen to be in the area that you're in, there is purpose behind them. So I thought it was really cool that while I was filming an attempt for that video, that's when I happened to see these animals. And it served as a confirmation that I'm making the right video, because, it played out in front of me very nicely. And also as a reminder, because when I was going to come on here initially, I was going to talk to you about how, all of these animals or different signs and symbols that can come into your life serve mainly as, signs of alignment. But I almost forgot to discuss how they're not only Oh, look, I have a little bug trying to come in too. I wanted to see. Sorry, I've had ladybugs coming around me a lot too, which obviously has a lot of symbolism, and I believe that was one that was just coming in. Not only are they signs of alignment, but they do carry messages. So if you pray or you have like any questions or you're struggling with something, these things can come into your life to bring clarity, to give you the next steps of how to deal with what it is that you are struggling with. And for me, that's what these animals that just crossed my path just did. They reminded me to take a step back, preserve my energy. And that's why I went and had some lunch and tried to bring my energy up naturally. And to just trust yourself a little bit more, because I think I was getting into this space where I was having a hard time trusting the words that were coming out of my mouth. And it served as a divine communication in that problem that I was specifically facing. So being psychic is really like this divine, I want to say co-creation, but it's something different than that. Let me ask chat actually while we're on here. Hey chat, I'm trying to come up with a word. I don't want to use co-creation, but I'm saying that being psychic is basically almost like this like group project is like the type of vibe that I have in my head. But I also like the idea of the word co-creation. Like it's this, it's like, what's a good word for that? You know what I mean? Like it's something that you're working on with divinity together. Chat. Let's see if she heard me and she said something. I'm trying to come up with a word that is like basically being psychic is this divine co-creation or kind of like group project where you work together to understand your future and current reality. What would be a good word for that? Yeah, I like a collaboration. That's it. So divine collaboration or an intuitive partnership. It's basically, I really like collaboration. It's basically where you pay attention to what the universe and God is trying to tell you through the language that it speaks, right? Through its divine dialect, the way that it can communicate with you, whether that be through dreams, whether that be through symbols or animals that are around you, whether that be through numbers that you randomly see, or people being drawn to you randomly. It's just paying very close attention to the patterns in your life, the things that you can never choose, your favorite colors, your favorite movies, all of these things, and really decoding them and figuring out what it all means for you, and your life. When it comes to being psychic, you start first with yourself primarily. There are some people, of course, that I'm sure you just have this ability already. I'm sure that that does actually exist. But if you're attempting to cultivate these psychic or intuitive abilities, then it is something that I believe is best done with yourself. Now, when people say psychic, I feel like psychic has a very negative stigma. It has this idea of being scammy. I mean, even when I think of the word psychic, I think of somebody with a crystal ball at a traveling circus or something like that. And I don't think that that's what being psychic really is, right? Like, I think when you look up like what psychic means, it's basically having this, it's it's basically having the ability to let's see, psychic meaning. This ability to experience phenomena that are apparently inexplicable by natural laws. Now, are these things completely inexplicable? No, but they are inexplicable by natural laws or the modern blueprint or understanding of reality. But there are like actual patterns and methods to being psychic, to being intuitively gifted. Another thing that I commonly use as a tool for my psychic abilities of being able to tell what's going to happen in my future or in my life would be through, the first thing that comes to mind again is numbers. If I see random numbers, I like to use my my guidebook that is just a bunch of different numbers that, if you 1111, by the way, when I said that, a bunch of different numbers that you can look at, because they have all these little messages under each number. So if I randomly see a number that pops out to me, I can go to that book and see what divinity is trying to tell to me. Now, do I think each of these numbers necessarily mean something? I don't know. But what I do know is that I think divinity knows that I have that book, right? And so they use it as a channel or a way to communicate with me through the randomness of presenting certain numbers to me. And when I do see a number that actually I know will have a message attached to it, it's almost like that number like glows for me. Like it'll randomly pop out in front of me, the same way kind of like how these animals do. And it'll almost glow, like it'll just feel like it's magnetizing me. It almost feels like it has that light energy that we've talked about so much on this channel. So it really is about paying close attention to the randomness of life, the perceived coincidences that are actually synchronicities. Because again, once you realize that there's no such thing as coincidences, then you start to realize that there is like this divine, intelligent like plan to all of it, right? Another thing that I like to use when it comes to my ability to have some foresight into my own future is my cards. I like to shuffle up my cards and read them for myself. That's really kind of how I started this whole thing all along, is I would use tarot cards and I would read them for myself. And when you first start with your tarot cards, you don't necessarily fully believe that they can give you the messages that you desire to have. So a lot of the time you see some inconsistency in your card pulls. But you start to see more consistency when you start recognizing with your intuition what does feel real and what feels like not necessarily aligned with you, right? As I started to get more clear on what did feel like it fit with me and what didn't, I started to experience something where every single card that I started pulling was accurate, to the point that that's why I also do readings for people, because I believe so deeply in these cards that I actually do find that messages come to me. And it didn't start again until I truly fully believed and expected every card to have some sort of message. So I shuffle cards for people, because I find that when I do readings for people that don't believe that they're actually they don't actually believe that this is going to work, if they are the ones pulling and shuffling my cards, then I'll find that same thing will happen, where not everything will be fully aligned with them. But when I shuffle the cards because I believe so deeply that I'm going to get something that's actually legitimate, then, and I'm so good at like picking ones that just feel like the first one that draws me to it the most, I do find that they are always almost 100% accurate. Like literally like 95% of the time they're accurate, and the 5% that they're not, it's just like maybe an off day for me, or they're starting, or basically like if I'm going through a lot, then sometimes my cards will come out as readings for me, regardless of if I'm trying to read somebody or not. And that's something I'm kind of trying to like figure out and work on. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's like all of this is really just like practice. I don't know if you guys have seen that viral sound of Bob Ross, I believe it is, saying that it's not about like this talent that some people have and some people don't. This talent and skill is basically like a choice, right? It's something that you practice over and over until you become very, very good at it. And that's exactly what these intuitive gifts are. I do believe I'm a little bit more naturally inclined to them because I do have a background of ink and blood. Like my mom's side of the family is all from Bolivia, and our ancestors are Incan. I'm going to Peru next year to go to Machu Picchu, by the way, and I'm really excited about that because I feel like there's going to be definitely a deep connection that I'll feel to the area, to the land. And I just, it's been calling me and pulling me there for a long time, even before I knew that I had Incan blood. Like, that's always been a place that I've always wanted to go to. But anyways, my family members have all had experiences of like premonitions through dreams or just knowing that someone was pregnant before they were, those little things. And I think it all starts with the fact that like it is within our heritage, like it's something that's culturally accepted in our culture. So it's like we believe that it can be true. So that's why I feel like all of this is really more about belief than anything, but that everybody has the ability to access these gifts or skills. One more thing that I want to talk about that I've really been using a lot lately, and I'll make a whole video about it if you guys are interested, but something that really also allows me to kind of understand what's coming for me in my near future is I've been looking at my birth chart, and I've never been like really deeply into astrology, but it's like something that's getting more, that's creating more interest within me. But like when I look at my birth chart and compare it with the full moon or the new moons, I'm starting to see a lot of alignment with what it is that I'm going through in my life at that time. So right now we have a new moon in Leo, and what I like to do is I like to I have this app called Chani, I believe it is, that I heard about because I was reading a book written by the same person that made this app. And I like it because it has your birth chart, and then it also has like it has written out your placements along with like the houses that they're in and the planets that it's aligned to. I'm still kind of trying to understand everything, but what I like to do is I like to go into the app, and if the new moon is in Leo right now, right? So I like to go to my chart and see if I have any placements in the Leo area, and then I tell my chat GPT what uh, what placements I have in Leo and what that could mean because of the new moon in Leo or the full moon in Leo. And that's something I highly recommend to do because I have found like really, really close alignment with what is actually going on in my life. So for me, my midheaven is in Leo. Again, I don't really necessarily know what a midheaven is yet. I'm kind of learning it as I go, but I know it's in Leo and it's in the fourth house because my Chani app told me that. And so I told ChatGPT like my new moon, my midheaven is in Leo in the fourth house. There's a new moon in Leo that just started on the 24th. So what could this potentially mean to me? Having your midheaven in Leo means your public image, career, and life path are tied to authentic self-expression, confidence, and creative leadership. But because the new moon in Leo falls in your fourth house, home, roots, inner world, the energy is about realigning your inner foundation so your outer success can thrive. I do feel like that's like exactly where I'm at right now. A new emotional foundation, inner confidence work. I have found that this week I have been dealing a lot with trying to really embody full confidence for myself. I've seen myself speak to people and say things trying to get them to like me this week. Not like a lot, but I've just noticed that habit a couple times, and I'm specifically working on my inner confidence. Creating a stage at home. This could be literal or emotional, finding ways to make your home feel like a safe space where your soul can shine. That's something that's actually big for me as well because I'll be moving back to Utah soon. And the first thing that I think about with that is I'm trying to make it something where I'm able to film there and that it'll be very aligned with my creative abilities. Career alignment from the inside. The stronger your roots, the more authentic and powerful your public presence, the MC in Leo, becomes. The new moon may help you realize where your inner life needs nurturing to fully step into the star quality Leo MC. That's exactly what I feel like I'm experiencing right now, because it's like I'm trying to get like my YouTube going. I have like my modeling that's really like coming into play, and everything is just aligning. But I've been noticing that right now I'm kind of in this preparatory period for it, right? Like I'm really trying to prep to pop out in the way that I want to pop out, you know? And it's all about that inner work and working on those little things that still need some alignment to make me being in that Leo energy as easy as possible, right? So the reason I tell you all this is because I just want to let you know like how aligned it is with me, and I recommend that you guys check it out as well. If you want some help kind of like having clarity on where you are and confirmation of where you are, looking at your moons and how they align with like your placements on your birth chart has really been helpful for me when it comes to that. So the last thing that I think I really wanted to mention in regards to like ways that like different tools and things that I use to kind of have this psychic ability is detecting patterns and cycles of the past and allowing them to help you kind of predict what may be most likely to happen in the future. As they say, history does repeat itself. So if you look at like things that you're naturally inclined to in your past, or ways that you tend to act, or ways that maybe like patterns in your relationship tend to manifest themselves, you're able to kind of make predictions about like what you expect to see in the future. Another way that we can kind of talk about this as well is when it comes to manifestation and things like that. Like I can kind of predict when certain things will happen for me because I know how manifestation has worked for me in the past. I was talking to you guys about like the 4 seasons, like the inner winter, the inner summer, the inner spring, the inner fall, all those different things, and kind of how they manifest themselves, where it's like I'll go through this time where I have no clarity, where I'm like kind of not seeing anything on the outside, but then slowly these seeds start coming and planting, and then once those seeds start coming and planting, I can expect that eventually they're going to sprout and bloom, if that makes sense. Like these ideas are eventually going to sprout and bloom. So when I see these little hints or seeds of ideas or things that I expect to be happening in the future, then I can know for sure that those things are going to likely come into fruition, because they always do. So I feel like that's like really the main, those are the main things that come to mind when I think about like how I've become psychic. It's really also about like following that inner GPS or guide, or almost like thermometer, which like it will tell you when things do and do not align with you, right? Like you'll feel like almost this icky feeling of dissonance when you do things that don't feel like they fit with your soul's path. And also like let's say like you read a card in a card pull and you feel like you like get the feeling that it just doesn't make sense with the rest of the cards. That's your like inner GPS telling you whether or not, like that's your intuition telling you whether or not something is true or real. It's like you have this like truth, like lie detection type of thing in your body. I mean, I think that's why we also like know so easily when people are lying to us. It's all these like it's intuitive, right? It's like these things that have come so naturally to us that we no longer really even have to think about it. It just is. So being intuitively gifted and psychic really is about like listening to that inner compass that will tell you when something's just not like fitting with you, or when something is like you're naturally very much magnetized towards it, and paying attention to the signs of like what was the word that we ended up choosing? Like collaboration, right? Like of paying attention to the messages that like God tries to give you, and paying attention to the coincidences that happen, paying attention to when somebody feels drawn to you, When you keep hearing about a certain place, like that, maybe that is a place that you need to go, that realizing that a lot of these things are suggestions, points for clarity, messages, like it's just paying attention to it all, right? It's just paying attention to the world around you and having the respect for the world around you enough and divinity to realize that they're not just random things, that they actually have real meaning behind them. And then, of course, using different tools like checking your astrology and how that fits and aligns, and your cards, right? Pulling different cards and seeing, you know, what comes up randomly. Because again, you think of like a tarot reader, right? Like when you think of a psychic, and there's a reason for that. They're using these tools to enhance their intuition. I mean, like if you're very intuitive, like you don't really even need the cards. Eventually, it gets to that point where all the other signs and symbols and everything kind of are enough. Like I haven't even been reading many cards lately because I've been getting so many downloads, and I've started to understand how to be in touch with my intuition on its own without having to have the confirmation of cards. But it, like, without the cards, I don't think I would have been able to train that part of my intuition, if that makes sense. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. It took me a while to like really figure it out and get it out for you guys, but you know, every video is not going to be perfect, and that's okay. And even if there's like one person that gets something out of this video that helps allow them to better be in touch with their intuition and, you know, speak with divinity, then that's enough for me. And I'll just keep continuing to try to make better and better content that really does help you guys, and this is my attempt to do that. So I hope you guys have a really wonderful rest of your day, and if you guys do try any of these things or add them into your life or pay closer attention, like I would love to hear about it in the comments. The last thing I wanted to do as well is I wanted to shout out one of my like most supportive subscribers. Their page is called Adult School with Marco podcast. He shares like everything that I post, and his community that he has seems to really enjoy every time that he shares my stuff and just all the different things that he shares. And I just wanted to say that I'm really grateful for you, Marco, and I really appreciate everybody here that wants to continue pushing the messages that I do have, and I just can't wait to create more, and hopefully one day we'll actually be able to meet each other and actually talk in person. So thank you so much to everyone that's here and supporting me. Here's my son Malik. Can you say hi?
Hello.
But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Mama?
And I'll see you on the next one.
Mama?